I wanted to talk now for 5 minutes, summarize a conversation I had with a brother on the topic of Arabic. So when I say Arabic here, I'm talking about Arabic for non-Arabic speakers. Arabic for Arabic speakers is easy. So we divide Arabic into al-nahu and al-sarf and al-balagha and whatever other things we need to divide it into. And in al-nahu we have a set of books that we follow. In al-sarf we have a set of books we follow. In al-balagha we have a set of books that we follow. And we finish the Arabic, we finish our study of the Arabic language. That's easy for people who are Arabic speakers. But I'm talking about people who are not Arabic speakers. What is the best way to learn Arabic? And this is a difficult one. There are lots of things available, and each one of them has pros and cons. So there are live classes, as in classes where you turn up as a student, you sit at a desk and you study. There are online teachers. There are books and videos and CDs and whatever else, MP3s and whatever else there are. And there's kind of like a mix and a hybrid and self-study and lots of other things. But there are some things that I think are really fundamental to learning Arabic, which I was discussing with a brother earlier on today, and I'm just going to summarize a few of them for you. The first is, and probably the easiest of all of them, is vocabulary. Get yourself a good vocabulary list. Put it on flashcards and start learning words. Even if you don't know how to put a sentence together. So you look around the room, there's a table, microphone, a stand, piece of paper, a pencil, tissues, a sofa, a carpet, a door, lights, a camera, a bookshelf, books, curtains, blinds, whatever. Each one of those has a word for it in Arabic. Just go learn the words. Get yourself a good vocabulary list and go and learn the words. You don't need a teacher to do it, to be honest. You can do it from just like flashcards, like picture on one side and word on the other. Test yourself. Do 5 words a day, 10 words a day. Most languages only need 3,000 words to reach fluency. Even if you say that Arabic needs double that. Let's just say Arabic needs 6,000 words for fluency. It's very achievable to do 10 words a day. 10 words a day and 2 years and you've done a lot. You've done a lot. So I would say the first thing is vocabulary. The second thing is what some of the specialists in the science call corpus learning, where you have some material that you gain exposure to the language from. That can be written, it can be audio, it can be video, but it should be some material and it should be graded by difficulty, meaning you start at the beginning, which is very simple, and it gets harder as you go on. An example of that I gave earlier on today is, for example, children's reading books. I don't know in Arabic what they call them, but in English you have like the Oxford Reading Tree and these different sort of books where they start you with, the cat sat on the mat, and then they, go up to like paragraphs and pages. In Arabic, similar things exist. For native speakers, book 1A, and it starts with, the Arabic equivalent of the cat sat on the mat, very, very simple words and simple to understand. And then it gets to very complicated sentences as you go on through the book. So that's an example of reading. For videos, even things like kids' cartoons. You start with cartoons aimed at 3 to 4 year olds, and then 5 to 6 year olds, and then 6 to 7 year olds, and then, for example, anything where you can get access to the language structured, where you're getting like each one is getting more complicated than the previous one. For audio, it's a little bit more difficult, but again, you might be able to find Arabic course audio or something where it starts off simple and it gets more complicated. So expose yourself to the language, starting off easy and getting more complicated. And the third thing you need is a little bit of grammar. I'm starting to kind of come around to the opinion that that it's better to start with very little grammar and only take what you need, because grammar tends to put people off. It's good, but it tends to put people off the language. So maybe that's a case of having a teacher or having a class, and you just learn enough. You just learn, enough to move to the next book, to the next sentence, to the next topic, and so on. And that way, I think, is, in terms of the structure, is the best way of learning the language. Now, whether you do that as a student in a class, or online, or by yourself, is up to you. But you need to have those fundamental components. You need to have vocabulary that you learn. You need to have a corpus, a body of material that exposes you to the language. And you need to have some knowledge about how to make sentences, syntax and grammar, which you probably get from a teacher, either online, in book form, or whatever it is. For a lot of people, the reason they get put off is because in the beginning, it's a little hard. And that's why I say in the beginning, just start with 2 or 3 words a day. Just start with vocabulary, right? Isn't that like little kids? When you get a little baby, the first thing they start with is vocabulary, right? They don't come out with sentences to begin with. It's mama, baba, bowl, cat. They learn vocabulary. And then they start putting, very simple sentences together. And then, you progress from there. There does come a point where you feel more at home with the language. And that's when things start to get a little bit easier. But you have to persevere until you get to that point. The last point that I'll mention is, a lot of people say, what about pronunciation and speaking? I think to begin with, just a good Quran teacher is enough. To begin with. A good Quran teacher who's strict on pronunciation will teach you to read and pronounce the letters properly. That's a good start. And then as you develop in your Arabic, you can take breaks. If you don't have access to a native speaker, you can kind of maybe go have a break, go have a week in an Arabic speaking country or Arabic speaking area. Dubai is not great for that because English is the medium that everybody uses. But there are areas of the UAE where you'll have more exposure to Arabic. Go and but you don't have to be there all the time. Just go every now and again and practice what you've learnt. And then you come back and you keep going. And if you have an online teacher, you could do it through the online medium as well. So I think even with kids, what I do with my kids is primarily vocabulary, mostly. It's working on just words for things and slowly introducing very simple sentences, really simple, and take your time. And like they say, and the famous Arabic saying goes, "Man jadda wajad," the one who works hard will get it in the end. You just have to show that dedication and that hard effort and that hard work.